Good morning. I want to thank y'all for coming out today. I want to introduce a few people that are with me. Again, I've got Captain Mark Vaughn from the U.S. Coast Guard with us. I have Chief Butler. This is the Chief of Fairfax County. I have his Deputy Chief, Rick Roach, who y'all already met. I've got the Union President, Rick Cooley from Fairfax County, and I have our Union President, Local 122 President, Randy Wise. I'm going to bring up Captain Vaughn and let him start the press conference today.
Good afternoon. We continue to search this morning. We've got a number of aircraft and a number of cutters out this morning, and we'll continue to have aircraft and cutters out this afternoon in a search that presently exceeds 105,000 square miles. As I've been mentioning over the last couple days, as we've continued in this race against time, going into the evening and into tomorrow, our search area will extend from from several hundred miles off the coast of New England down to the central part of Florida. And at this point, without additional information, we have simply reached a point where our computer modeling and our ability to search in a given location are no longer allowing us to search with any reasonable degree or probability of success. And with that information, in meeting with our partners, meeting with the families and the other search assets, I've made the extremely difficult decision today that we will suspend the active search tonight at sundown. I'd like to thank, as we go forward, we've had some incredible outpouring of support from the public, from the Fairfax County Fire Department, from the Jacksonville Fire Department, the United States Navy, the Air Force, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Marshals Service, Customs and Border Protection, Office of Field Operations, and some incredible, absolutely persistent aviation coverage from our Customs and Border Protection partners with the Office of Air and Marine, who have allowed us to extend the search farther and broader than we otherwise could have without them. The Coast Guard, when we suspend a search, we never stop operating. The Coast Guard remains, and we will remain, ready, relevant, and responsive, and we will have cutters underway tomorrow. We'll have aircraft underway as we operate globally 24/7, 365 around the world. Everyone will know that we still have Brian and Justin somewhere out there, and we remain with them. Our thoughts and prayers remain with them, and we stand here with our brothers from the Fairfax County Fire Department, our brothers and sisters, as well as those in Jacksonville. And our thoughts and prayers, of course, remain with Justin, Brian, and their families. Thank you.
Real quick, I'm going to update what we've done today, where we're at. We put 15 boats out of Savannah today. We've got boats that are out of Charleston today. Those boats are covering about 4,000 square miles, and we have 3 aircraft that are covering actually north of Charleston some and south of Charleston, making sure that we're saturating that area good today. As the captain said, we kind of follow the lead of the Coast Guard in this. They are the experts. We are suspending our active search as well at sundown today. That is an extremely tough decision because we've got a brother out there that we just haven't been able to find. I want to thank the community. Without the community, none of this would have been possible. We had a guy named Chad Walton out of Charleston that is heading that search effort up for us, and he has poured his heart and soul into this, making sure that we're covered in that area. The Savannah Fire Department has had their boat on the water every day helping us. Bill Hay, he's a pilot that flies out of Craig Airport. He has coordinated all of our flight ops for us. And specifically, I want to speak to the JFRD personnel that have volunteered their time and money into this. Just know I'm extremely proud of you, and this is what brothers do for each other. At this point, I'd like to bring up Chief Butler from Fairfax County and let him say a few words.
Good morning. On behalf of all the residents and citizens of Fairfax County, Virginia, and especially Station 5B in Franconia, I bring you greetings, and I speak on behalf of all those members, Justin and Brian, who are thinking of them and continuing to valiantly assist in any way possible. From our border supervisors to our fire department in Fairfax County, Virginia. I bring greetings and appreciation to our partners in the U.S. Coast Guard and federal, regional, and local assets, and most importantly, those volunteers that don't wear a uniform, who dove in and assisted in the search. My brother, who I've now gotten to know, Chief Keith Powers, has been a professional and a fellow to share ideas with. I'm really proud of your organization. You have done a great job in hosting us. Thank you.
Chief Powers, I have one more thing to say, and then we'll take some questions. The last group I want to thank is our federal partners. They have, especially the Coast Guard and under the leadership of Captain Blonde, they have poured every reasonable asset into this area. And this search area is big, very big. I think I heard this morning you say the size of Colorado, to do everything possible to find these two firefighters. And Captain, I want to just give you a heartfelt thanks again for all that you've done and all the federal partners that have come in and helped us with this.
Thank you. Chief Powers, everybody's heart, of course, goes out to the family. I assume you've been in touch with them. What are they doing?
I just left the families right before we came out here, and their heart broke. And I can't say that I feel any different right now.
Is it hard with morale when every single fire department employee seems to be invested in this personally? They still have jobs to do, but they know, for a lot of them, this was their friend, this was their colleague. What are you telling them? What are the chaplains telling them to get through this difficult time, potentially losing one of their own?
So we actually at 11:30 this morning, I sent an email out to the field while we were in here meeting with the families, and we have been partnering with the International Association of Firefighters. We have our own internal peer support group, but the International Association of Firefighters has been gracious enough to bring in their group as well. And we are offering those services to not only Station 31, which is the station is where our McClooney worked at, but also to the rest of the department to make sure that we're taking care of all of their needs, and they're going to be here for the foreseeable future, however long that takes, to make sure that our people are in a good place.
Do you know how many donations were given through JFRD.com, and are you still asking for them?
I do not. Chief Wise would be the one to answer that. Sure.
Yeah, it's we've had a great response from the public and to donations for JFRD.com. That number is continually going, a significant amount, continually changing. So I'm not positive where it is at this point, but we're going to be assessing the needs of the family in the future. We have been, that fund has been financing a lot of the searching that's been going on. So again, it's and some of that's still outstanding. So we're not sure where the fund is at this point. But at some point, we're going to have a conversation with the family and see how we move forward. So it's undetermined at this point whether or not we move forward with donations to JFRD.com.
Would you say it's upward of 500,000, 100,000, a ballpark of how much was donated? Have you seen any numbers?
Yeah, it's north of 150 at this point, and so we'll again. But we've been spending some of that money at this point, fuel and covering some rooms for the families and supporting the families. So our Secretary Treasurer's got a good control of where we're at. And again, we'll keep assessing it and see what we do. Now that we've gotten to this point where they suspended the operations, we'll have to have some decisions to make, and in correlation with the family, of course, to determine how we move forward.
And what was the message to the families when that conversation was had?
Which conversation is that?
In terms of the search being suspended, just what was the message to the families?
Captain Blonde is the one that delivered that message.
So we actually brought the family in. We've been meeting with the family throughout since Friday. Today, and we met with them yesterday afternoon to kind of talk about the way ahead a little bit. And then today, we actually brought in the search and rescue planners, the team that actually put the rescue together and then operated out in the water. And they've walked them through step by step everything we knew, and then every action we took from there on in to try to provide them with an understanding of both what our partners and what the Coast Guard has done to answer their questions that they may have, and to reassure them again that suspending a search does not stop global Coast Guard operations, And I've talked to my counterparts as far north as Hampton Roads, North Carolina, South Carolina. Everybody's aware that we're still looking for Justin and Brian. But at this point, just mathematically and through our system, I'm no longer able to pinpoint a specific location. And by putting those assets, the judgment calls that put those assets back on patrol and back in their normal areas, we give ourselves an equal, if not better, opportunity of maybe learning something more. And to be clear, that if new information came forth, like with the bag or something like that, it restarts the process. We would, in fact, it would immediately come back to us. All of our partners within the Coast Guard through the Rescue Coordination Center globally have access to that system. So if some further clue opens up, we would restart the search and rescue process and take appropriate action to learn more and to begin the search.
Captain Vaughn, a pilot with Customs, said yesterday, we want the family and the firefighters and the community to know that we threw every resource possible at this search, and we did not ever let down. Can you real briefly give us a summary of all the resources across all the agencies involved?
So all of the groups that I mentioned previously, from the Air Force, who assisted us on day one with some of the cell phone technology, working through the local providers to find the last ping on the cell phone. The United States Navy, the P-8 and the P-3 communities out of NAS Jacksonville that provided the most sophisticated maritime surveillance platforms in the world into this search. Customs and Border Protection flew the most persistent search patterns that I've experienced in my entire career, side by side with our Coast Guard assets, that allowed us to be in further north and further west and up and down the coast as we flew side by side with our DHS partners. The Jacksonville sheriffs, the Duval County, we've talked to the Port Commission all the way down from Cape Canaveral and all the way up through Jacksonville. The one thing I can't say enough about is the outpouring of public support and in the outpouring of support on the inshore side that was led by the JFRD team. The amount of boats they were able to put together, organize, and then search the inshore, I can't say enough, nor could I ever have imagined that they would have recovered a bag 100 miles north and 50 miles offshore. That is a miraculous find that frankly allowed us to extend beyond where we thought we'd be able to be, because it put us back on a target where we were able to search for 2 more days in the hopes of an additional clue. And that's the important point going forward, is that we will always continue to look for additional clues. And the entire Coast Guard system is aware that we still have a 24-foot Robalo. We're still looking for that boat. It's just that at this point, I'm not adding value by putting any asset in a particular location. We just have to continue to pray alongside the family that we learn something going forward that would allow us to respond again.
And to clarify, the bag was the only item that was potentially linked to the missing firefighters. We know that there were some volunteers who went out and said they did find some pieces of debris, but the bag was the only item that was potentially linked to the firefighters.
The bag was the only item that we were able to gain 100% concurrence with, that was absolutely linked to that vessel. There were other debris, in one case a cooler lid, that even though we weren't able to link it for sure, I made the decision with my team to treat it as if we did, and we searched on that just as we did with the bag to ensure that we literally left no spot in the ocean uncovered. And to the point made before, in my 25-year career, I have never seen a more comprehensive or a larger search effort for the area and for the time duration that we ran. This was an all-hands-on-deck evolution with partners, some of whom I've probably forgot to name, but we could not have put more into this than we did. And like I said, obviously our hearts and our prayers go out to the families.
Chief Powers, the families, specifically the wives of Justin and Brian, have been so strong. They've been so amazing, speaking on behalf of their missing husbands. How are they doing today? Everybody, I think, watching feels for them. It's unimaginable.
It is unimaginable, and obviously they're heartbroken. They're going through a tough time, and I know we've asked a lot out of the community, and I'll ask one more thing: keep those families in your thoughts and prayers, because they're going through an extremely tough time right now.
Are they still flying? Is Natasha still flying today?
She's here today.
Captain Vaughn, obviously for your role and being the leader of this, it's got to be one of the hardest decisions you've ever had to make.
It is the hardest decision. When you're talking about search suspension, it is the hardest decision any Coast Guard leader makes. It's unquestionably.
Is this the last press conference, or will there be future others?
You have heard from JFRD when it comes to one of their own, and also from the Coast Guard, saying that they have made the very painful decision to suspend at sundown the search for these two missing firefighters, Justin and Brian. They also said that they have spoken with the wives of these two men just before starting that news conference, letting them know that they will have to scale back. Now, they say that does not mean the search is over. They will continue to search, but to the magnitude that we've seen so far, from stretching from New England all the way down to South Florida, Brevard County, they will scale that back unless something new is found. If something new is found, then there will be some new actions taken to follow up on those clues.
Such a tough decision to make, too. 105,000 square miles already searched. Of course, this is the 7th day right now. They're centering in Savannah and in South Carolina. But as you said, from New England all the way to Central Florida, it was such a vast area of searching. But that decision was made to suspend at sundown today.